you see me? Can you hear me?
I hear you, Laura, but I lost everybody there for a second, so I'm going to go
Yes.
off. So I'm going off. So
right.
bye-bye.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for
All right,
joining.
thank you.
And here we have Laura, and Laura's going to be covering data science best practices for data science for your startup. So, Laura, I'll give you the floor, so take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to start presenting. Yeah. Well, but now I cannot see myself. Just a second. Okay, it looks like, okay, it should be working. So can you hear me? Can you see me perfectly? So just say yes and I will start with it. Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Laura da Silva. I am a data scientist. I've been working as a freelance data scientist, but the last 4 years I've been working in consultancy. So I've been providing data science solutions for different industries in different companies, different size. So it's small, big companies. And today I would like to talk to you about everything I've learned in my journey. Okay, so and that's the title of my talk is best practices in data science. So other things to tell you about me is I am the founder of a community that is called Inspiring Women in Data Science. So I started this community. It's a Meetup group, and it started like 2.5 years ago. I run like monthly events. And I try to inspire other women to understand better about what is possible in data science, also if data science is an option for you. Given all the effort and all the training that we have provided, especially just in our community, so I received the Microsoft MVP in AI. So and I've been just doing this for the last 2 years, and hopefully this year I will get another one. So I would like to, so before I start with everything that I'm going to cover, just to clarify that what I want you to learn today is about the data science adoption, just to give you like some tips of what to think about, what to have in your plan before starting, or even thinking in putting data science solutions in place in your company. And also it's an example of challenges, some good and bad practices, or things that I've seen or I've lived, or something that I read through, and things that are coming. Okay, just to clarify that this is not a technical talk. So for those that are not technical, don't have a background in data science, mathematics, computer science, so don't be aware of it. So I'm not going to cover this here, but I can, help you support outside of this talk today. So I will start with the 3 key questions that you should ask yourself when you decide to do a big change, as it is, just to put data science or AI solutions in your company. And I will put these 3, that is why, when, and how. Why do you decide that your company needs of data science solutions, and when is the right moment? So when I know that the company is ready, or my company is ready just to get data science on board, and how I'm going to do it. Okay, what I need to think, or what is my checklist to say, okay, this is what I need in place in order just to start doing data science in my company. So let's go for this why. So in order to embrace data science, so companies are seeing just data science, AI, machine learning, how you want to call it, deep learning, no, all these funny things that we hear everywhere. So in 2 different ways. So data science can bring you more income. So if you are able to shape better the trends and the behavior of people, you are able to reach out to the right person, or to the right user, and then you will be able to get more income. But at the same time, you can use data science to reduce your costs. So if you know that something is failing time to time, and you are able to predict this in advance, it's going to give you this flexibility of bringing the right person at the right moment, so that you don't have to be consistently just bringing that person and increasing also the cost that is related to that. Or even worse, so if you are like, or you have engineers that are looking after a system, and this system just dropped completely, So then what can happen is that you are losing a lot of time, okay, and all your users, you can lose the trust of these users. So this is the two main things that you are going to get from data science, and this is why it became like really important at this moment in our lives, this moment in the history when we are becoming like more and more data oriented. So why specifically? There are 4 reasons why your company want to use data science. The first one is because you want to be more competitive in the market. And I wanted to bring these pictures, on this particular picture here, just to see how the different countries are adopting AI. And they think that it's a strong competitive advantage. And for those that are really big, it's also that they see that if you are not incorporating AI solutions in your company, you are left behind. And then this is really important for those that are really big, but also for those that are starting, it's a really big advantage, because if you base your company in AI, you can make the difference from the beginning. And then you are also just making them, or forcing the big ones to update themselves, and sometimes they are like not so fast in order to put all these processes in place. So as you can see here, those that are like embracing a lot of or those who see that data science can bring like a competitive advantage to their companies, we see that, you know, United Kingdom, that is where I'm based at the moment, so is in a 26%, so that they are like trying to catching up, but they see that in the future, okay, so they will need this to make a significant difference in how they approach the market. So the other thing is automation, saving time and resources. So now, and we will see more and more in the next years, is automation is going to be the key. So we are going to automate everything that is possible. Everything that we are doing as humans that can be automated by machines is going to be done. And automation is another reason why companies are adopting AI. So this is, I put this like that you can see that there are some advantages that are like really easy to see, like, you know, just the quality. So you don't have a machine is not going to be never tired. Okay, so it could be a drop down, but it's not going to be tired. It's going to be consistent. You are going to have the quality of the job done. If you are able to maintain this and, you know, look after this, you can also reduce the cost of what maybe you are having, like many engineers or many analysts, and you can reduce this cost. It can save you time, okay, if it's well done. So you are going to have time once when you are automating all this part, but once that you have done that, you will be able just to save that time. And also governance, you can have more control about what is going on and who is accessing to what. Another way of seeing why companies are adopting and starting with AI is AI for good. So is that maybe the ultimate purpose of their companies is not just to make money, or it's more like to do something good for society? Okay, so we will see more and more funding from governments in order to give everyone the chance to create a startup where they can contribute to this, to something good for society, how we can connect, how we can save time when we are traveling, or how we can reduce or just getting clean energy or affordable energy for everyone, how we are aware of the amount of water that we are spending and how we can reduce this in a good way. So I have like several, I've been involved in one big project that was AI for good. It was for agriculture. And it was to optimize how growers are like getting all these things. So as you know, when we are trying to grow vegetables and things like that, we have different things that we have to try to maintain a good standard in order to have good products. Okay, if you put too much, or you put like not too much, then it could impact the product that you are going to have, and also in the processes, just to get this into the supermarket or anything like that, it will affect the whole process. Okay, so machine learning is something that is used for that. In climate action is really important, and one of the biggest sectors where I'm seeing that AI is applied is in health. Okay, so if we are able to track all the images for patients that have had cancer in the past, and we are able to predict or prevent what is going to happen in the future, it will be a big step on, just to get people healthier and live longer. So the last thing that I thought is that another way of seeing how you want to use AI or data science in your company, and it depending on how you want to use it, it will drive you in one direction or another. It would be like, because it's fun and cool, so I want to explore what's possible with data science. So I don't have an ultimate purpose, so I don't have a goal that is making money, just to see what is possible. This would be like really similar to what research and development is. So you are exploring what's possible. Maybe you don't have a solution that is for now, but maybe in a few years it will be something that make a difference. So just to summarize the first step, so that I said why. So why you want to use data science or AI in your company. So it's the first thing that you have to think about. It's mainly a business decision. So it will depend on what you want to do, what you want to achieve with your company. If it is something that you want to use data science just because, for example, you want to approach better your customers and you want to apply data science to marketing, your marketing team, or if it is, for example, that is AI is exactly your product. So you are selling something that is using, for example, matching people with different roles, for example, in human resources. If you want to build that, so maybe your product is exactly, the data science solution. So that is why it's important to define your goal. Depending on the goal that you are wanting to achieve, it will change how you approach data science, and also define how you will measure your success. So it's really important from the beginning to have a clear plan of what you want to do, why you want to do it, and how you are going to measure that you have achieved what you wanted to achieve from the beginning. Okay, so I will take just some of the words of Janet, like that you have to have a purpose, you have to have goals and actions in order to success. So this is why, this is what you have to think in this phase. So then the second thing that you have to think about is when I know that my company and the people in the company are ready for data science. Okay. So one thing that you have to think about is about the data maturity in your company. So I cannot think, as I've seen many companies that they are trying to achieve something, but they don't have the right environment in order to achieve it. And sometimes, because there is a lot of hype, just related to data science, AI, and all the machine learning and stuff, that some people don't understand what is possible, what's not. And some of them, what they are trying to do is to mimic exactly what they are doing, but using the cool technology, and this is not working at all. Okay, so one of the things that you have to think is, do I have data? So I have a question that I want to answer, but do I have the data to answer that question? So you could have data, but maybe this data is not good enough, or is not enough data in order to be able to predict something, or to do some inference on what is going to happen. Okay, so I want just to put here in this picture that you have like the 4 different phases to put it like this. Okay, so when you know that you need data, so that you are aware, you have this awareness of data. But this data is captured in files, or you have captured this in some place that is not organized, even thought, to extract any information from this data. Then maybe you have to organize this data and think about what you have and how you can approach it, okay, before going to data science. I don't say that it's not possible. It's possible, but it's not going to be really easy to automate, and then it's going to be really hard every time that you have to iterate through it. So then you have, when you have this organization, so when you organize this data, maybe in SQL servers, or maybe you have it in non-SQL servers, or maybe you have it in a data warehouse, so you have it in a place where you know what you have and you have this organized, then you can think about to have some statistics of what's going on. Okay, so maybe you don't have enough data, because just to be able to predict what's going to happen next year, it's really important to know or to have data from last year or at least 2 years ago. Okay, and then if you don't have this kind of data, maybe what you want to know is like to have like regular reports of what is going on and how I'm doing. Okay, so if you are trying to do that, maybe that's not data science, that's business intelligence, reporting. You can use Excel. So it's what we call data analysis. That is the traditional data analysis that we always have. So in that case, you don't have to move to some sophisticated or just to plan when you are going to start using advanced analytics. Maybe not now, maybe you have to wait for 6 months, and maybe in 6 months is the right moment, okay? And then you will have everything ready and prepared to be ready for data science. Okay, so once that you have data, and you have this data that you use it for, or you have some use cases where you want to apply data science, we will say that you are data savvy. So because you are using these data science predictions or these ML models to get some predictions that are going to give you these critical business decisions, it's going to help you to make a decision what is going to happen next. Okay, it's not going to be something like I got feeling, okay, I think that I think that the market is going very well, and maybe tomorrow we will need this stock in my company. It's more like, okay, I see the trends, okay, what happened the last 2 years, and more or less in this season, in this month, is going to be more or less like this. So you make informed decisions so that it's easy that you are going to be near or close, because people behavior is not so random, it's like quite predictive. Okay, and then finally you have the data-driven. And the data-driven is like when you use data science, not only for application or for your product, but also internally. So when you see the potential of data science in all the different departments of your company, that is data-driven. That's a data-driven company. Okay, so you see all the power, and then you say, okay, I can save this money, or I can, just bring more money if I apply. I understand how I can empower the different departments of my company, embracing AI from everywhere. Okay, but as you see, this is a process, and you have to be prepared to embrace this, and you have to, not only you, it's you and the whole organization. I will say that this is like a kind of mindset, okay? So when it's like, some people, they say that it's DNA of your company. So if you want to change things, you have to embrace it, but not only you, the whole organization. So the next thing is they take maturity in your company. So we were talking about if you have the right machines, okay, where you are storing, or you have some storage where you are having this information. But not only that you have to maybe to get some BI tools just to visualize. Or even if you don't have expertise, or you don't have people inside your company that have the expertise in data science, maybe you want to use different machine learning platforms that are available in the market. So you have here many. Some of the major clouds, they have their own products. Now is the moment of the AutoML. So if you hear about AutoML platforms, it's like, we will say, you will have some possibilities of what is possible with data science, but it's really business focused. Okay, the good thing is that all these platforms are thought for people that are business people or analysts, so you don't need coding. It's going to help you to put things together in order to do data science without being an expert in coding, mathematics, and all the things that you have to be good at if you want to be a good data scientist. Then you have to do some, you have to make some decisions. It's like, okay, so I want to use the cloud. I want to use my own server. Then I will need a person that is the administrator of that server. Do I want to use ML platforms that are like, upskill my team and they will use it? Or I want from scratch implementation, so I need people with skills in Python in creating web applications in order to visualize the results. So there are many things there. You will have some question around security, so the data that you are capturing is compliant or is not. So you are following the GDPR rules or not, and how we are accessing this data, we are storing this data, and how we are providing the results and the actions that we are taking after that. Okay, and another thing to think about is scalability. It's not the same thing if I'm creating something that is for one person. Okay, I'm going to do predictions of sales for each one of the month for one only product, and maybe I have this and it's really small scale and I don't need to have a whole infrastructure for that. So then you will use something really easy, simple. But if you want something that is accessible for many people, okay, so then you have to be aware that you need something that is consistent, that is well tested. Okay, so in data science maturity, so I see here that I have one question. So I'm going to take the question at the end, if you don't mind. Okay, just we move quickly, because I know that we were like really concerned about time, and I don't want everyone. I want everyone to have a good sleep, a good dinner, and time to reflect about what we are discussing today. Okay, so about data science maturity in your teams. Now that you have the right data, you have the right infrastructure. So the next thing is think about, is my team ready for this step? So do I have the right people? And sometimes here what you see is that companies, they say, oh yes, let's go, let's embrace AI, let's embrace data science. I want this, it's going to change my company. This is something cool, and it's like a miracle almost. And the first thing that they create is that they got the best people, all PhDs, that they are like really, really good in machine learning with a really strong background, and they put them all together in one part that is not connected to anyone, not connected to the business, and they are not successful. Okay, so this will be more or less what we are here at the bottom. Okay, so this is they don't have the maturity of these people, because they are like putting things together, but they are not understanding what they are going to do, what is the expectations of what they have to build. So, and it's really important from the beginning to know that everything that you are building in data science, or at least the solutions that you are building in data science for a company, has to be business orientated. So all your solution has to be measurable for what your business needs. Okay, so then you will have like a small short term. This is when you are preparing only POCs all the time, just preparing POCs, but you are not moving from that. Okay, so there is no success because you are not able to put solutions into production and make a difference. Okay, so in that case, you should be able to plan in advance. So one of the key things in this phase is like, once that you decide what is the data maturity, do you have the systems that you want to use, is just to decide if you want to drive your team in one way or another. So you can get people and upskill your team, okay? And then maybe you will, they could be like overwhelmed because it's not easy and it's something that they are not comfortable with. And it will be a challenge, but also an opportunity for them. Or you will get external team, a team of experts that are not from your business, that you will have to shape in order to understand what is important for you. Okay, this would be like the two different decisions that you have to make. And in one way or another, there are different questions that you have, or different solutions for each one of them. So I will say that in this part, when we are asking when that company is ready, is based on the maturity of your company in tech or data. So ask yourself, is my data ready? So the quality of your data is important. The size of your data, for how long have you been capturing data? Okay, if you had a purpose, with what was the purpose of that? And also it would be like a good exercise to create a diagram with an end-to-end flow of your data and how your results are going to be consumed. Okay, so if you have an end-to-end solution, you will say, okay, I'm going to use web applications because I want people to get, I don't know, imagine that you are in a manufacturing company, okay, and you have a lot of devices that you have, or machines, or maybe engines. Imagine that you have a lot of engines and you have an engineer that had to come every 2 days just to check that the engine is still working. Okay, so maybe we can automate, and it's going to be like the machine. We are going to create a machine learning algorithm that is going to tell us in advance when the engineer has to come in order to fix it, or just to refresh the system of that engine, okay, in order just to not have a dropout. Okay, so that would be a good thing. So you know that only the engineer is seeing this, so that you prepare the environment that way. And the last thing is how you are going to do this. So I always say, define your business plan. So don't say, okay, I will figure out during the, so I've seen this many times. Now I will figure out in the process. So I will see how we have to do things, but not really. So if you plan everything at the beginning, maybe you will have to iterate through that thing and improve. But at least you have a, I will say like a template, something that is your first version of what you are looking for. Okay, select good use cases. So this is something that is really extremely important, to select good use cases. Okay, so is the data ready for that use case? Imagine that, for example, we want to detect if a person is going to develop cancer or not. Okay, so for example, that one. So the first thing is to know if I have enough data to be able to predict this, and the data is clean, is something that I can trust. The second thing is what is the impact of this? So I will see the different factors, the different actors that are going to be impacted by this. So for example, it's not only the patient, okay, it's their trust. It's also maybe I can save on how many times they have to come. Maybe try not to be invasive when we are exploring them. So these kind of things are how we are going to measure that. And also how is it to solve this problem. Okay, it's not the same to solve a problem like, for example, fraud detection is difficult because sometimes you don't have many examples of fraud, and then it's difficult just to shape it properly. Or maybe you have other problems that are even more difficult, because that one is the complexity of the algorithm is not really complex. But for example, when you want to do something with images, or you want to do something with text, or you want to use video or sound, it will be more complicated. So if you don't have something that justifies what you are going to use, or why you want to solve that use case, maybe it's not a good idea to go for that one first. Maybe put it in, in the research and development part, and go for those that are like really, really impactful and easy to solve first. Just because when you have this feeling of success, okay, it's easy to go for more. But when you are saying that you are not successful in what you are doing, it could be frustrating, and you can start not believing that AI is so powerful. The next is define a metric to evaluate success. Okay, so for example, this is a way to set your expectations. There are many companies that they started like building these silos that I said of data scientists or data scientists with data engineers, but they didn't have any business purpose. Even they don't have a timeline, so that they have to finish that. Some people, they are like, okay, so I need to know exactly what I want to achieve in order to have things done. The next one is timing. So I'm a big fan of agile methodology. So I really encourage you to use agile methodologies in data science. Okay, some people, they don't agree with that part because they see like an experimental and like a scientific thing, and it will depend on what you are trying to achieve. If you are like developing things because that you don't know that that you are exploring things and they are really open, maybe you can say, okay, in 6 months we revisit and see how things have evolved. But when you want to have like a return of investment that is maybe in 2-3 months, you have to put like this iteration where you are like having these retrospective sessions where you are seeing if you are improving or you are doing something, what is going on. Okay, so definitely put a time for that. Use Agile and iterate through that. Okay, so the next one is budget. Allocate a budget. So don't go with all your force. Okay, so if you have all your money, so don't put all your money in something that you don't know. Okay, I think that the first step is just put some budget, see what you get from there, and then iterate. So I will say that's what I've seen or what I see that is working is exactly that. So the next thing is decide about the team. Okay, so if you have the team of people, as I said before, just decide if you want to upskill your team, if you want to grow a new team, and why you want to do that. Okay, sometimes it's really important to have this business knowledge and have good connections with the people that are capturing and organizing the data and putting things outside. So be sure that the team is not blocking each other's, the data is accessible, and the output is also accessible and ready for the people to consume these predictions. Finally, I think that is an important thing that is about ethics. Okay, the side effects of what I'm building. So this part is really important. I put here in the different parts of my presentation, I put like some sources that were like quite interesting that you can visit and read through, because they are really interesting if you are thinking about starting your startup, or you have already a startup and you want to apply data science. I think that they are really relevant. But this one that is from a company here in the UK that is called .everyone. Okay, so they think really well about how things or how other side things are affecting when you are building a product. Okay, so not only to build things, but be responsible when you are creating them. And I think that they have like several steps. They are not. They are an organization that is for free, so they are giving the material, and you can see it and try it, and at least to reflect about it. And I think that is quite important. So just to summarize, remember to start small, but seeing the big picture. So keep your big picture at the end, but start small, okay, like a trial, and you are improving and improving. Fail fast, and this is really, really important. So that is why timing is really important. So just put a time where you think that you should have, or you should be able to have at least a first POC, and then discuss what is possible, what's not. And finally, iterate, evaluate, and improve. Okay, so don't think that this is one-off. This is a process of iteration, and see what is working, what is not working, and then iterate and iterate. And finally, you will get what you are looking for. Okay, so this is everything from my side. I hope that you enjoyed. I was at least helpful for those that are like starting your adventure in data science, or for those that are already in. You don't feel very lonely in your way. I'm going to see here that there is a question. Say that what metrics do you focus on as a data scientist, and why? Well, when I work in data science and I work for companies, I use different metrics. I use one metric that is related to the algorithm, but this is for me to understand if the algorithm is learning. So if the machine learning models are learning, and I expect that it's something that is good enough, okay? And I use another metric, and that metric is related to the business. Okay, and this metric is something that you revisit, and something that you want to see. Maybe it's not in that moment when you get this model into production. It will be maybe in a few months when you revisit and see if you have increased the sales, or if you have increased the retention of customers. So then you revisit this, and you know how the model is doing and performing. So there are many metrics that you are using. Also, you have another metric that you use, that is to see if your model is still performing, or maybe your model stopped performing because the behavior of the market, of the people, has changed. For example, when you have a big event, the behavior of people is quite predictable, but sometimes could be something that you don't expect. And in those cases, maybe the model is stop performing. Even for finance, or for some, for example, how finance is working today is very different how it was 4 years ago. So maybe a model that was created by then is not performing well now. So you have to start thinking how you shape this differently. So then you need different metrics. It depends also the algorithm that you are using. So it's a complex question. So you have many metrics for that.
It wasn't intended to be very complex. I'm sorry. I understand. And have you always wanted to be a data scientist?
Sorry?
Have you always wanted to be a data scientist?
Well, data science is really recent thing. Like you say, when I studied mathematics, and I did my PhD in high performance computing. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, we didn't even have cloud. So we didn't know what was, and in recent years, we had all the power of computation. And then when we had that, and we had all the social networks, then we put all the things together, and then we have data science now. Mm-hmm. So before, I never thought that would be, so I thought that I love mathematics, I love computer science, and they were my more things that make me feel like alive. Mm-hmm. But never thought, about data science like a job.
Oh, cool. That's amazing. That's really cool. And like earlier we had a panel discussion on ethics and AI. So has it ever crossed your mind, like, hey, like I could be out of a job in a few years, like if machine learning and AI, like if AI takes over, has that like...
Yeah. So this is something that, as I said before, so this is something that you have to take into account when you are like creating a model. Okay, mm-hmm. So what is the intention of the model that you are creating? Is replacing people or helping people? Mm-hmm. And if it is replacing people, maybe it's that these people are doing something that they could be more useful in another part. Okay, so we have a lot of people that still, we have some people that are like copying and pasting data from one Excel file to another just to compile all these things together. So this in a few years is not going to be a job, because in itself, it doesn't, bring like any meaningful for the person that is realizing or just doing that job. So maybe that person will learn other things. So I don't think that people should be worried about, I'm going to lose my job. It would be more like, I will have to, just to be flexible and adapt to the changes of what is coming.
Amazing, that's great to know. And we have one more question, and then we'll probably break. And
do you have any tips, or can you recommend tools to manage qualitative information? When you say qualitative information, I can imagine that you mean text, for example, or because usually when you have text or you have numbers, usually you store this more or less in the same way. So the only thing is that when I have text, just because it's not organized, or I don't store it like organized, so I use NoSQL, so I use MongoDB, like for example, a database where you can put there this kind of information. And to manage qualitative information, another thing, so but it will depend. So if I go to the technical part, it will be like when you have qualitative information that is related to words, text, or classes, but they are not numbers, okay, in itself, then what you do is transforming this information into quantitative information. So I'm not sure if that is the question, if it is that way, but if you want to discuss further, Jenny, so just reach out to me and then we can discuss further.
Super. Thank you so much, Laura, for joining our session. If you don't mind, if you're open to sharing your LinkedIn profile, I think like many people would love to connect with you here on LinkedIn.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, give me a sec. I will get it for you, because I think that I wasn't able just to connect my LinkedIn to Remo. Not sure why.
Oh, I have you. I'll post. So here's Laura's LinkedIn.
You got it?
Yeah, it's the right Laura.
Okay, perfect.
I know many Lauras, but this is the right Laura, the data scientist. So Laura's LinkedIn is posted below. So please do feel free to connect with Laura, and also connect with Laura in the networking space. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. Just one last question, Laura. Since the event is recorded, is it possible to share also access to your slides as well?
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
I can. Yeah, that will be fine.
Super. So just so you know, the session was recorded, and you'll also get access to Laura's slides, and you have Laura's LinkedIn in the comments below. Thank you so much. So that's the wrap for our very first monthly forum for women in tech and female founders. I really hope you all had an amazing time. I really enjoyed having you all here, and we're going to spend the next 45 minutes networking in our networking space. And I feel like many of you are like networking pros on Remo, or like I would say like Remo pros, because now you can actually, instead of having a physical business card, you have a virtual business card. So if you haven't done so already, click on the top right corner, update your profile, and connect your LinkedIn. And I would love to see you all connecting and creating really great connections here with one another, because being a woman in tech, a woman in business, or a woman in general can sometimes feel really lonely. And I have like 5 sisters, and even I say that sometimes, like, oh, I do feel really lonely as a woman in business and tech, because it's really hard to connect and meet like-minded people. And attending events is quite time consuming, especially when you have to commute or you're stuck in traffic. So this is amazing. So because it brings us all together. And Laura's in London, and I'm actually in Malaysia right now. So if it wasn't, if it wasn't for this online event space, there's no way we could, have this conversation, right? And I think it's amazing that we have like an audience from all across the world. So I'd love for you to all come on board and actually connect in the event space. And if we haven't connected already, I will add my LinkedIn profile below. So please do feel free to connect with me. I'm always open to connecting and doing virtual coffee with people around the world, because I think like growing your network is really important, and always connecting with like-minded women. So we're going to end the event here and break out into the networking space. And thank you so much to everyone for taking part. And like I mentioned before, the event is recorded and will be available in the Sprinters community. And I'll be sharing a link in the comments below. Any more last comments, Laura, before we close?
No, you said. Thank you very much, and have a lovely evening. And just go to have dinner and go to sleep.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning for me, but I'd like to connect with some people before I doze off. But thank you so much for joining once again, and thank you everyone for being part of our very first monthly forum. And I hope to connect with you in the networking space now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.